Hi everyone, my name is Will Wegman and welcome to the Lake Simcoe Fishing Show. Today we're going to highlight some of the topics that we're going to present to you for the first half of the year 2011. We have some ideas that we've written down already, but we're always welcome to look at your ideas, so please remember to send them in and we'll have a look and see if we can talk about some of those ideas as well. But what we were thinking to start off in the month of March, we're going to talk about a very important subject, and that mainly is ice safety. You know, how to read the ice conditions so that you can have a safe and fun time while you're out ice fishing on Lake Simcoe. We're going to talk to you a little bit about yellow perch, one of the most popular winter species there is on Lake Simcoe. We'll show you some fish being caught, hopefully, and some basic tackle and techniques to help you get started for this wonderful winter species. We're going to talk to you about something called Operation Bait Bucket. Now, this is a program that the Ministry of Natural Resources and the Ontario Federation of Anglers and Hunters have started, where they have roving crews that are around the lake traveling by snowmobile, telling anglers about the dangers of dumping their live bait down the hole and talking to these same anglers about invasive species and some preventative measures that they can do to lessen the impact of invasive species on our favorite lake. In April, we're going to bring you some footage of the popular Orillia Perch Festival. This is a huge derby that takes place out of Orillia where anglers register and they can fish for fabulous prizes, including some big money prizes for tagged fish. It's a great event for the whole family, and we'll bring you some exclusive coverage that you're sure to enjoy. We're going to talk to you about getting your boat ready for the upcoming open water season. And what better way to do that than to interview a marine mechanic from the Lake Simcoe area that will be able to give you some tips on how to minimize the problems that you might have with your boat and motor for the upcoming boating season. We're going to bring you some basic fishing regulations, a little show to let you know that Lake Simcoe is designated as a special body of water within Fisheries Management Zone 16, classified as a designated fishery with special regulations, special fishing regulations geared just to this lake. And we'll let you know so that you don't make any mistakes when you're out fishing this great body of water. We'll talk to you a little bit about a yellow perch tagging study that's coordinated through the Twin Lakes Conservation Club, a really dedicated group of volunteers based out of Orillia who have initiated a tagging study to help follow the movements of yellow perch throughout the season. You'll be sure you want to see that episode. We're going to talk to you as well about another popular fish on Lake Simcoe, and that's the black crappie. You know, they haven't always been native to the lake, but they've sure been very popular among hardcore anglers. And the great thing about black crappie is that some of the best fishing occurs in the spring, right after ice out, in some of the rivers like the Holland River in Bradford and the Maskinonge River over in Keswick. And we'll interview some anglers and we'll find out what they're doing to get bit with some beautiful black crappie from the Lake Simcoe watershed. In May, May is a great time. Things start to warm up on Lake Simcoe, and we've got some major openings as far as seasons go on Lake Simcoe. We've got lake trout and whitefish that are opening up. We're going to bring you a show on both of those species individually, because there are certain little nuances to be able to maximize your catch for both of those shows. We're going to talk about northern pike. You know, they're a voracious predator that inhabit the weedy sections of Cook's Bay. And we'll highlight some techniques and tactics to help you catch some of these big gators that swim around in Lake Simcoe. You know, not everyone can fish from a boat, so we're going to interview more anglers that are fishing from shore, some techniques for general recreational fishing that will help those who aren't as hardcore but still enjoy fishing from shore. And we'll do that through the month of May as well. In June, there's a big pike tournament, probably the first big pike tournament of the year that I will hopefully be fishing in once again. I was fortunate enough with my partner last year to win that tournament, and it's the Law Enforcement Pike Classic that's held out of Keswick. We're going to be there, we're going to fish it, and we'll see how we can do this year. There's another tournament that always starts on the opening weekend of bass season. The last Saturday in June is when the opening is, and the following day is the Casey Cup Bass Fishing Tournament hosted by the CSFL and Bassmania out of Orillia. I'll be fishing that. There'll be lots of stiff competition, and we'll show you the weigh-in and some of the great bass catches that are brought in to the city of Orillia. We'll see if we can take a trip over to Sybil Point Provincial Park out of Sutton. There are some fabulous new fishing opportunities that have been created out of this park. The boat launch has been revamped, some new docks have been put in place, and some great areas have been created there for anglers to fish from and to make it easier on the visiting angler to launch his boat, or those that are staying at the park and don't have a boat to fish from the docks there. You know, the month of June is also, like I said, when bass season opens. So we're going to take a look at why places like Lake Simcoe have a closed season where you're not even allowed to catch and release bass until the last Saturday of June. We'll talk about how the male bass becomes the parent, guards the nest of his young, and then once those young have dissipated and are left to fend on their own, well, it's time to fish for bass, and that usually coincides with the last Saturday in June. We're going to look into that really fascinating topic. In July, bass season is in full swing. So we're going to start with some early season tactics for smallmouth bass at the north end of the lake. From there, we'll travel all the way south and hit Cook's Bay. Shallower, weedier, more hospitable to largemouth and smallmouth bass, and we'll show you some early season, shallow water, largemouth tactics. You know, tournaments take place all summer long, so we're going to do our best to try to cover some of them. There will be another one through the month of July, on July 30th, and if we can get out to that one to show you some highlights, we'll be there as well. In August, you know, the bass start moving deep, particularly the largemouth in Cook's Bay. So one of my favorite ways to catch them is with crankbaits. And a lot of people have trouble using crankbaits because they're always afraid they're going to get hung up in the weeds. We'll show you some tricks to minimize the number of weeds you're going to get and maximize the number of largemouth you can get in Lake Simcoe's Cook's Bay. We'll show you some offshore largemouth habitat in another episode to enable you to read the water and maximize your opportunities out there when you're fishing largemouth. We'll show some techniques for cottage owners who want to fish with their families just at the end of the dock. They may own a boat, they may get to go out there fishing every once in a while, but they just love to sit at the end of the dock and fish. We'll show you some ways that your kids can get more fish from the dock, and perhaps so can you. So last but not least, we're going to bring you an episode to highlight some of the great conservation work that is being done by various partners around Lake Simcoe. We have a few diving clubs, the Etobicoke Divers for instance, who place fish habitats in the lake to enable the bass and other fish to have the homes and the structure that they require in order to become really vibrant fisheries. Likewise, the Barrie Bassmasters have another project, and they actually sink Christmas trees into the lake with Ministry of Natural Resources approval and their ability to look at the project and say, yep, this is a great thing for the lake. We're going to look at that project and see how these Bassmasters are putting these sunken Christmas trees in to attract bait fish and, again, create homes for fish like largemouth bass. So there you go, a full half season already sort of in the works for the Lake Simcoe Fishing Show. We hope to bring you these ideas and lots more. So let us know your suggestions, and we'll be looking forward to a great year on the water.